We have enough incidents in our department alone to use
What? Just this week?
own training.
Just this week.
You can use last year up to now.
Yeah, there are a number of very.
This is a great example.
Adjudication, and like anybody who's under appeal, we can't use. Anybody was terminated, we can't use.
Yeah,
So,
the thing is, I don't know what
if
kind
they're
of,
appealing. Some people were terminated, didn't appeal.
the training that a lot of these the younger guys are going to. I mean, you know, like if, pretty much it's like this group right here, if we're going to drink, we usually on our
Home.
patio or at our house.
Nowadays.
If we go out,
You know, that's the one thing. If I go out, you see who drives. Huh?
yeah.
Jones,
These people-
I don't even drive, even if I haven't had anything to drink. I don't drive. If I know I'm gonna drink, I say, you drive. Just drive. All right.
Yeah, but they have that Iron Chest Charlie syndrome, and they don't realize that the trend is kind of swinging in a different direction. If you got now law enforcement, other agencies gonna sting you.
Not only that, but law enforcement across the country has become a target for citizens and public, you know, politicians who want to make themselves look good in the eyes of the public. Man, look at what these policemen make, look at their benefits, and they think they're above the law and all of that shit.
Video, you got a guy they know he's a police officer, he's in a lounge, he's loud, he's intoxicated. They don't film him.
I just saw an article, those practice policy investigations done by the Justice Department. They focus in on mid-size and small departments now. It used to be kind of...
I just forwarded.
Saw that?
Yeah.
No, I got it yesterday on...
From the Justice Department, they investigated.
You must have read the same one.
Excessive force?
Yeah. About excessive force cases.
And profile.
Yeah, that's the same one.
Yeah.
They finding it to be a pattern in mid-size and small departments too. And we still do it now. We have an excessive force case and training says, yeah, it's good. It's all with training, and we defer to that. But we got to watch that too, because training things change constantly too.
All right, we'll get this set up for predetermination here. Greg, like I said, this is it was put together pretty good. It was read easy and enough about everybody's statement, you know, that you interviewed. And when I finished reading the narrative, I was pretty comfortable with that you proved your point. And you even stated there that there is a violation. A lot of supervisors won't do that. They won't put there's a violation.
They don't want to commit to that.
They're not committing to that.
Well, he scared me a little bit when he walked in with that big binder. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
It's
God.
like, you know,
I had to
in
switch to
conclusion,
mine.
I found that Joe Smith violated provisions of LARS 14, whatever. It's the
Yeah.
same thing.
I was worried. I thought you get you one of them little pool cards.
No,
With
no,
all
no,
your,
no.
So that's the game plan on that?
Yeah, and let's just make sure we have it. We're gonna do the hearing on Jeremy because he's gonna get a bit more severe discipline. Not severe, but you know, more discipline than what these other folks who you know, they weren't completely forthcoming in their statements. And they'll have an opportunity to give an explanation, but unless somebody, you know, says, you know, can convince me that they weren't trying to minimize. That's what I'm reading here. They tried to minimize
I think that's very
that night
accurate.
what they did. And, oh yeah, we just had a few drinks at Marley's. We really went there to dance. Who goes to Marley's to dance?
I kind of agree with you partially. I think they were minimizing it not to get Jeremy in as much trouble as he could have.
As he is. Yeah. Here's the other thing I didn't like about this, the way this thing was handled. Not the way you did it, but the way it was handled. Greg Randall gets there. He realizes we got a guy drunk. And when Greg Randall got there, Jeremy Dupuis was behind the steering wheel. They didn't tell you that, did they? Yeah. When Lodge gets there, they had since told a guy to move over, and they moved the car. So when Lodge gets there, he sees Jeremy on the other side of the car, so that's what he calls and tells you, or whoever called him to it.
They told me they had already made the arrangements.
And they had already made the arrangements to bring him home, and in reality, the guy probably should have been arrested for DWI. He's behind the wheel and the car's running. If we find somebody like that at a red light, we arrest them. And DWI counts on private property. It's in the criminal code, it's not in the traffic code.
And there's a lot of things that could have gone wrong with that.
So, and I think that the way they presented it, they kind of misled you. So you hearing that, and you go, well, okay, I agree with that. And they were all, and look, they were very appreciative. Don't get me wrong. They said, man, you know, at least we were able to give this guy a break. And I'm not against, you know, that, but you got to balance that with the public says, oh, when their police officers are drunk, they take them home. When I'm drunk, I go to jail, you know.
See,
I'd like to be taken home too, you know.
I had to make that call one night when we had an officer leaving the downtown area. I don't recall specifically where he was coming from. Was in an accident and took out a pole and subsequently took out all the power in the area. So I've got.
Well, I remember that. He was in a truck.
Yeah.
Hey, Susan.
What's that?
Reginald Mosley.
Yeah, Reginald Mosley.
And they're like, what are we going to do? And I never forget, Terry Head was there, and he said, see ya. Took off, and I had just made sergeant. I hadn't been sergeant very long. And I said, well, do what we got to do. I mean,
He dumped you.
you know, it was
thing.
one of those things where you've got.
You know, don't call if you looking to put your decision on the next level up. Don't call and say, what do you want us to do? Because you know the only choice that supervisor has is to say, do your job.
So we've talked about that too. Once you become a supervisor, these guys don't understand yet, or it's hard to get them to appreciate that when you become a supervisor, if you tell me certain things, once I become aware of it, you know, it's you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
I got a call. Yeah,
I've got to do something about this.
From a lieutenant one Saturday, and he says, we got this councilman's son from marijuana. What you want to do? I said, what do you mean what I want to do? Well, we wanted to call you before we arrest him. I said, and what, based on what? Well, it's a councilman's son. I said, do your job.
Well, it sounds like the decision was made.
Do not deviate from whatever our normal protocol is in those situations. Follow that protocol. Do not deviate. When you deviate from something is when
that's when you got a problem.
Well, and it sounds like their decision was made. Well, we wanted to call you before we arrested him. Somebody somewhere along the line
No, he
said,
wasn't under arrest.
but they were going to.
Oh yeah, they wanted to wait to the jail.
So they said, so they're like, well, wait, somebody better call the chief and find out, you know, it's not right. The decision was already made, but still.
What chief would call a guy and say, you should have called me before you arrested that guy? I don't know the chief who would do that. They're still working as a chief.
I'll tell you now.
I know a couple of small communities that
Yeah, maybe so, but
Not in an department this size, and at best, you would, if I had been at that desk, the best you'd have gotten from me was an email. Hey, we did this.
that's how you got to do it.
That's it.
That's how you got to do
And
it.
I may not, knowing what we know now about emails, it may have been a phone call later.
Yeah. Well, they actually called me and asked me that question, and I told the lieutenant, I said, are you kidding me, right? He said, well, what do you mean? I said, do your job, man. The guy's under arrest? Yeah, we found some marijuana. Okay. Or give him a summons, whatever y'all do in those situations.
That's the easiest way, that's the best way, that's the right way.
Look, remember when Mike Carson's sister-in-law got arrested for shoplifting? Now nobody knows about it, right? Nobody, you know, they don't know it's Mike Carson's sister-in-law. But he freaks, because he's brand new as the DA, he freaks and he calls all the media and tells them, look, my sister-in-law got arrested for shoplifting, but it's not true and the charges are going to be dismissed. What do you think they did at 5 or 6 o'clock? District Attorney's sister-in-law arrested for shoplifting, charges refused before sister-in-law can be booked, you know. It splashed across everything. So, you know, you can't do anything about those things once it happens.
I wonder
All
if this buddy thing that we see between supervisors and you know, these first line supervisors and subordinates is a result of these guys staying at a non-supervisory level for so long. I was just thinking, you know, they work with these guys for 10, 12 years or longer in some cases.
I know this. It's because a sergeant has so much influence and control over his subordinates.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that the first line of supervision is the most important and vital in the police department. Well, it's true because they can shape these guys and guide them and mold them and motivate them into however they want to do it. They can make them terrible employees, or they can make them, you know, hey, look, here's my work ethic, here's what I do, you know.
Yep.
And I ain't scared to get out there and work with you, but you got to remember, I'm the boss, you know. And they got that opportunity to do that. So, but some of them don't. Oh, it is, man.
You know, but it's got to be
They
done.
did not come in today. They worked yesterday.
Well, and there's some sergeants who are very well liked by their troops, and they do a good job, and they're not, like I said, you ain't gonna find them eating supper at their house on nights all the time. They might have shift
Okay,
functions.
thank you, Steve.
They might have shift functions, but you're not gonna see him socializing to a point where he's one of the boys. And these groups who have made the sergeants one of the boys, that's where we lose that's where you start seeing these kind of.
Start to lose the edge.